Hello, I'm Keith Inman, president of Kosair Charities, and I have the real honor to be with Da'Marrion Flemming, executive director of Sowing Seeds for Faith. Da'Marrion is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for about 3 years, and I'm real impressed with him as a person and him as a leader. And Da'Marrion, welcome to our show today. And I want you to talk a little bit about yourself. I know that you were a college football player, you know, a role model in your own right. You're a teacher,
Yes,
and now you have a higher calling and with Sowing Seeds of Faith, which I believe you're the founder. So talk to us a little bit about you, the person, and then how you became to Sowing Seeds of Faith.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. Again, I look up to Mr. Keith, has for a while, kind of took me under his wing as I was trying to figure out this philanthropic world. So it's been a very interesting series of couple of years, and I'm very grateful and fortunate to be in the position I am. A little bit about me, born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky, came out of Louisville Male High School in 2006, joined the military and the Army Reserve that year. As a way to pay for my school, I went on to play football for a couple of years at Tennessee State University. Once I became a father, I transferred back to the University of Louisville to finish my undergrad career, finished that and became a school teacher in Jefferson County Public School System as an algebra teacher. I spent 2 years at one of the lowest performing middle schools in the state, honestly. And then as that school was condemned and closed, I did transfer to one of the lowest performing high schools in the state of Kentucky under one of my previous instructors at Louisville Male High School. In that span, I quickly understood that JCPS system was struggling to academically enrich young men of color. And I felt like I had a bigger calling. I felt like I had a purpose that I needed to do more outside of the school building. So I felt like the biggest impact is what happens between 2:20 p.m. and then 7:40 a.m. for kids in West Louisville. So I stepped out of the school system and started a tutoring program that grew exponentially within a matter of months. So then I understood early on that the need was definitely there in our community. I took on that tutoring program aspect for a couple months, then it transitioned to an enrichment summer program, and then into a mentoring program. And I understood early on that mentoring is probably the biggest key, because as the kids trust you, then they start listening to you, and the information you give them, they retain, whether it be social information or academic. I realized that relationship was probably the biggest key to be able to get kids going. So fast forward, it was 2016, a lot of bumps, a lot of bruises, a lot of hurdles, a lot of obstacles, and we're here in 2020. I would love to say that 2020 has been one of the most challenging years for a number of reasons. But I feel like that our organization has definitely stepped up to the plate, has definitely answered the call on being a matriarch in the community and being consistent. We wanted to make sure that we spread ourselves thin as possible to make sure that all of our kids are not left behind. Very interesting, very struggle year, but we here and we know there's bigger challenges before us, and we're going to try to tackle those the same. Being the youngest of three, my mom was 4'11". My mom did not talk loud, and she didn't repeat herself. So along with some of the military background and my upbringing, a lot of discipline, a lot of structure, a lot of expectations, and a whole lot of accountability. We took those 4 pillars and applied them to the program, and we give those to both our kids and our parents. We want everybody to know that we support them, but they have to buy in into the mission to make sure we're able to do our part. So I'm grateful for a lot of different things, a lot of different reasons. I don't feel like it's a coincidence that I'm here. I do get tired. I do get weary, but the Bible says those who do not grow weary in good things to reap a harvest, which kind of brings us to why we use Sowing Seeds of Faith. Sowing seeds is something that everybody does intentionally or unintentionally. Anything you say can also grow and bear fruit. So we're very intentional about the things we say and do to make sure our kids understand how valuable they are, how worthy they are, how much they mean to us, and make sure we give them the same access and the same resource they need to be successful. So a lot of that came from me, and it started with my mom and how I was brought up. And I'm just trying to, pour it back into the community to make sure that everybody gets the same opportunities that I was afforded.
Da'Marrion, I always appreciate our relationship, but you've always impressed me because for a lot of reasons. One, you're a man of faith, and you walk the walk and talk the talk. And two, you take care of yourself. And by being able to take care of yourself, you take care of others. And talk about that a little bit. Talk about why that's important to you.
I just feel like that my mom was an example. She was an example of struggle. She was an example of perseverance. She dealt with substantial amount of adversity, and I would be remiss to not perpetuate that lifestyle. Of course, put it in a better spotlight. And I feel like all the things that I've encountered as a young Black entrepreneur, seeking to do philanthropic work in Louisville, of course, it has all its barriers, and you can provide all kinds of excuses, but there are certain individuals and spaces like Kosair and like Keith. And if you put yourself in those environments, then success is prevalent. So I feel like it was my due diligence and my duty to make sure that I just walk the walk. I take care of myself, health, mentally and physically. I feel like I have to be the example during hours and after hours to make sure that the kids see what they hear. So I took that very serious. I think a lot, like you said, a lot of our kids are getting a lot of misconstrued signals, a lot of gibberish, and social media and the world is giving them everything they don't need. So we have to combat that as a village, to understand that I may not look like you, I may not walk like you, I may not talk like you, but I've been where you've been. And I'm not trying to prevent you from going there. I just want to give you a helmet, so when you do hit your head, it doesn't hurt as much as it did when I hit mine. So I'm very intentional about taking care of myself and making sure that everybody around me and everybody who's involved in the organization walks the walk, and that our kids are able to understand how valuable they are just by looking at somebody who's told them how great they were. So we're intentional.
Well, you've been a good teacher to me. I learn something every time I'm around you, and you make me think. But Sowing Seeds with Faith is not new to Kosair Charities. We've been with you for a couple of years, and in that time, we've awarded about $66,000, and we believe in you. And we're here today to talk about a $25,000 grant that we're going to award to you. And I want you to talk about the meaning of that in a second. But this has been a difficult year. This has been a real difficult year. And I know for you personally, you've had a year where maybe you've gone without paychecks because you wanted to make sure the kids were taken care of first. You've even lost some kids. And I know that's had an effect on you. Hell, it had an effect on me when I heard about it. So talk about that a little bit, Da'Marrion.
I think when you sign up for this work, you don't get all the perks. You don't get all the requirements. It's not a job description when you sign up to be a community leader. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, because as you know, this 2020 year, we've buried four kids. And burying 4 kids has been very traumatic on both me and the program. And burying 4 kids is something that I would have never seen coming. And 2 of the kids was just wrong place, wrong time. So when you have to be strong in very weak moments, it takes a toll on you. And you have to go talk to these parents. And these parents have these deceased individuals have siblings who are ready to give up and throw in the towel. And you have to find the right words at the right time to be able to say the right things to make sure they understand that there's still a fight to be fought. 2020 has brought on a lot of challenges. And man, I can really go on all day, and even not the kids that are not deceased. I've had some kids who are living, but are pretty much just dead. They just don't. They just existing. They're just going through the motion day to day, not understanding the opportunities they have, and not understanding how valuable they are. And that is just as challenging for me to happen to bury a kid, to know that a kid has made up his mind that what we have to offer is not what they want. It's been a very unique year because we've been able to pull a lot of new kids into the program. A lot of parents have said, hey, we need to find something. I cannot let this idle time consume my child. So we've been very intentional about creating small opportunities where kids can just get away, opportunity to ride bikes and just walk, and anything a little small and different. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that hour could have been the hour that cost them their life. It's been a very, very challenging, but again, I'm not discouraged nor distracted. It's just, you have to fight the fight in this philanthropic world and nonprofit work. As you know, all of it comes with it. And when you sign up for the good, you sign up for the bad as well.
Well, and I know that you've seen tremendous growth, and you have parents from not only your neighborhood, but you have parents from really all over the community seeking you out. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So initially, the program was ideally designed to be housed in the West Louisville to accommodate West Louisville. But God had a different plan, and you can't stop what He has going. And word of mouth travel. So we're now covering almost 18 different zip codes in probably 6 different counties, from Bullock County to Meade County. I have kids in Oldham County and kids over in Southern Indiana. All across Louisville. You can go from all the way out to Middletown, to Fern Creek, to West Louisville, to Shavley, Fairdale, and PRP. I don't think there's an area that we don't touch. And again, like you said, these are parents that are finding us. We don't have any marketing strategy. We're not on billboards. We don't, we're not nowhere where you can just kind of, you got to bypass it. Somebody has to have an intentional conversation to talk about what Sowing Seeds of Faith to offer. And they call me directly. I don't have work hours, and I don't have a business phone. So understand that I'm 24/7 accessible. I'm working on trying to develop their work-life balance. But at this point, during the pandemic, during all kinds of social injustices and social unrest, you got to pay the price, and you got to make some huge sacrifices, because those parents are not only dependent on you, they're praying for you, and sometimes that you not answering the phone or answering the phone might be the difference between life and death for some of these kids. So we had one targeted area, but God felt like the seeds needed to be all over the city, so we took it on.
Well, and I know over the past couple of years, your location and physical plan has been an issue. So if anybody's out there listening to us that has some space, I know that you're open and willing to talk, because your kids need a home, mm-hmm. and they need an environment where they can come together and sometimes just be kids, but be around you, because Marion, you are so powerful. And again, you've meant a lot to me, but I've seen you with these kids, and I know you're powerful. So let's talk about your space needs.
So the space needs is a very challenging one as well, because we have 3 different facets. We have a mentoring, tutoring, and summer enrichment. And mentoring is every other weekend, wherever space we have going on, whether it be a museum, whether it be a walk in the park, whether it be a stroll through the Highlands, whether it be an ice cream social, anything to get kids out of their normal environment and put them in an environment with mentors and individuals like myself who are adamant about instilling stuff in the kids. Now, the tutoring program is actually growing pretty large because of what's going on with the pandemic and kids not in school. So we're looking for a space that can accommodate maybe 40 to 50 kids a day, not at one time, but at a revolving door of individuals coming in and out to provide 1-hour segments of tutoring between the hours of 3 and 8. And our biggest need probably is the summer camp enrichment. Summer camp houses about 130 kids, probably about 15 to 20 staff, over the course of the summer for over 7 to 8 week period. And we're with these kids and these staff from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, Monday through Thursday in-house. And then Friday we have field trips we take out of house. But those have been some of our needs, is that the need varies depending on what time of the year is. So what space may accommodate tutoring over the course of the school year may not accommodate 125 kids all at one time for over an 8-hour period.
Yeah. Well, I know I wanted you to talk about that, because that is an important thing. And if there's anybody out there that's looking for a good collaborator, a good partner, or has space available, Da'Marrion would be a great investment. Also I've got to brag on you a little bit too, bud, because you are the most networked guy I know. I'm in Florida, and I'm talking about Da'Marrion Flemming. I've got friends going, "Hey, Da'Marrion, he's my man. I love him. My daughter's on his board, whatever." Yeah, I can't go anywhere where they're not talking about you. So talk about it. What's your secret there? I need to learn from you.
I just felt like coming into this, Mr. Keith, I didn't have any, I didn't have any direction. I didn't know what question to ask or know who to ask. So at that point, I had nothing to lose. And if you know anything about sports, anything competition, the most dangerous person in the room is the person who has nothing to lose. And I was blessed with the Oracle gift. I know my mom talks about it all the time. I don't meet any strangers. I don't really get nervous on any platforms. And my mom told me that you was built to network. You was built to put people in places that they would have never been able to be in if they had not met you. So I go in, man, with the intention to meet 3 people that don't know me and I don't know them. And I do that. And I do a follow-up. I also believe in relationships are very key, again, on any platform. So meeting is one thing, and then sustaining is a whole nother beast. And I'm very intentional. I actually have a board on people that I meet in each month, and I spend the next 3 months trying to spend at least 1 hour with them individuals to understand what kind of value they bring to my community and what I can bring to them. And the only question that's dumb is the one you don't ask, and I gotta learn. I'm a sponge, man. I love to learn a lot. I love to know. I love to know the unknowing. And I hate being ignorant to stuff. I hate not knowing. So when I get an opportunity to learn something or somebody, and I take full advantage of it. Honestly, if you talk about a form of success, I went to Mill High School. If you want to graduate through Mill, you better go learn your teachers. And then that translated into college. You want to graduate college, you better learn your professors and spend time with them. Understand, what kind of things, turn their switches on to make sure that you're in the good graces of them if you ever need them for anything beyond academics.
Well, my dad always taught me, he said, it never hurts to meet someone. It never hurts to meet someone. But even more than that, it never hurts to meet someone and follow up and let them know how important they are to not only you, but how important they can be to a much greater audience. And Jim Valvano used to say, ordinary people coming together to do extraordinary things. Ordinary people coming together to do extraordinary things. And when I think of you, Da'Marrion, I think of, just a regular guy that's doing some extraordinary things because of the people that he's been able to put around him. So for that, I just want to appreciate it. And again, let's talk about the gift. Kosair Charities is going to make a $25,000 grant to you. How's that going to help?
It gives more opportunities for more kids. We understand that we're residing in a pandemic. And the demographics we serve are a lot of marginalized families who was really hit hard by the pandemic, and some that are still trying to figure it out. Out of almost 300 kids in our program, about 27% of our parents lost their jobs over the last 8 months. And it's been tough. And you talk about a parent who has to decide between paying rent or getting my child academic tutoring. We want to remove that hurdle, right? We want to make sure you tell them, Mom, you take care of business and let us take care of the rest of the stuff. But we understand it's a business, so we still have to pay our staff, we have to pay our tutors, and make sure everybody's accommodated adequately. So that money does that. It fills that gap. That money also helps some of these individuals who are in need of some kind of school supplies. We had a lot of kids, school gave laptops, but they didn't have calculators. You had kids who didn't have pencil sharpeners in home. You had kids who didn't have adequate internet. We was able to aid in those efforts. We also going into a cold season. A lot of parents are dealing with some cutoff notices. We wanted to provide them with those kind of services, let you know, hey, we'll help any way we can to make sure that young man or young woman has what they need to be successful. So it's just been a very challenging year. That $25,000 probably is going to help over 142 families over the next 6 months. And I couldn't have, asked God for a better opportunity. And I want to put a kickstand there. You made a very good comment when you said you put ordinary people around in one circle, extraordinary things happen. The Kosair Institute class that you recommended me for, it was a class from probably about 30 individuals. About 14 of those individuals have made some kind of contact or contribution to my program over the last 3 months. And I'm talking about huge contributions to where I have kids with Down syndrome who now have services. I have kids who were suffering from that was blind who now have services. I have kids, parents who didn't have transportation who now have jobs at TARC from that class. I have parents who's looking at kids getting more involved are now joining golf organizations because of that class. And you talk about, you just put people in a room and you let God work, and you understand that I've been able to, that classroom has blessed over 30 families in my program. So you talk about, the $25,000 is a great blessing, but those relationships that was made in that classroom and through you are going to go beyond this amount of money. That stuff will last for decades, right? This money will be gone in a year to 2 years, but the relationships and the opportunity that presented in the Kosair Institute class will bless families beyond my existence, right? And we talk about generational wealth through a class of ordinary people that yielded extraordinary things. So the $25,000 is a blessing. It's a seed, and we're grateful. But when you meet people like Keith Emmons, and you have classmates like the ones I've had, and you had Miss Joanne Berryman, and you had the provost of Spalding, those people, there is no amount of money that you can put on the relationships that came out of those kind of opportunities that exceed beyond any expectation.
Yeah, you're talking about the Kosair Charities Leadership Development Institute that we created with Spalding. You were part of the first class, and you know, I knew that class was special, but something happened to you early on, and I saw an email that you wrote to some of the people in that class that were from a different culture from you, and the impact that they made on you. And you know, I'm not going to talk about it, but it brought a tear to my eye, because what it shows that you know, as a human race from different races, we can come together and make good things happen. And for me, that interaction between you and some of your other classmates was really heartwarming, because I know that now we're doing the right thing. And you talk about relationships, you know, you didn't know any of those people. Well, you knew very few of those people before you started. And now I think you're on their Rolodex, and you're you know, you guys are best friends now.
Mm-hmm. So we have quite a few conversations, very organic, very genuine. We have check-ins every other week, and it can be as simple as a text, say, hey, just checking in, I'm here if you need me. I think one of the biggest assets to that class and to those individuals is during this national pandemic, during all the social injustices and inequalities, none of them were silenced. They was very adamant about saying, hey, I'm here, I support you, I see you, I'm wherever you need me to be, whatever support you need. They was very adamant, saying, I don't care about if I'm white, female, white, male, black, female, I am supporting everything you do, Da'Marrion. I believe in you, I love you. You know, those things really set a real precedent in me to let me know that I'm doing the right thing. I'm going in the right direction. And those affirmations that come from people who don't look like you and don't walk like you are pay dividends to the outcomes of what you can do with a young person's life just by, you know, something as small as, hey, I'm here, I see you.
Well, and you know, I feel the same way about you. You know, I care about you, and I'm a firm believer. And I'm talking about sowing seeds for faith everywhere I go, because, you know, you're just, what you do is bigger than any of us, and what you mean, and you spoke about it earlier, for generations. If you can help this generation, then you've helped the next one, and so forth and so on. So, Da'Marrion, I just think you're a star, and you're a real hero, and you're a leader in our community, and we're better off because you're here. And, you know, as we wrap up, is there anything that I haven't asked you? Is there anything that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I feel like it's some great questions, a great opportunity. I just want to reiterate to those who are watching and listening and understanding that the funds that Kosair provide is a great thing, but the relationships you make with the people inside are far beyond any amount of check they can write. So if you're not taking the time or the initiative to get to learn Mr. Keith, or anybody that supports Kosair, any other Shriners, any other individuals that are sitting at any table at Kosair, you are doing yourself a disservice. And I feel like Kosair relationship with me is going to be a lifelong. After Mr. Keith retires, whenever he decides to call it quits, I can see myself out there trying to swing a golf club just to make sure I'm in his presence, be able to share a good laugh and be able to do the things that, you know, really, you know, have some value. So I think Kosair is a beacon in the community and has been for, you know, centuries. And I feel like as long as you got individuals like Mr. Keith at the head, you really can't go wrong. So again, I appreciate you all beyond any greatest gratitude I can provide. And I just, you know, like I promised you, the time we sat at the restaurant and had, shared a meal, I'm not going to let you down. You know, it's this is not, the work is not done, I will make sure you say at the end of your tenure that, I'm proud of him. He is a gentleman that I watch grow, and I've held him accountable, and I believe in him beyond his wildest dreams. And I believe that, and I think about that every day. There are times where I say, if what would Mr. Keith do, and how will he view, and what does this mean, and what kind of selflessness has he done over the years that I can, recreate in an opportunity in the environment in which I'm in. And being in West Louisville, a lot of people look up to me in a lot of different ways. So one thing I can't do is get caught with my cape off. I have to walk the walk day in and day out. I have to adjust my crown and tighten my boots up every day and make sure I'm ready to go out here and fight. And I think with Kosair on my side, that fight is a lot less stressful.
Well, now people can see how easy it was to get behind you, and Da'Marrion, you keep putting that cape on, and you keep that crown on, and we're going to keep supporting you because you're doing the right things for the right reasons.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to let you go back to work now, and I don't play much golf anymore, but I do cook a little bit, so I have to cook for you.
Man, I can eat, so we right in the same alley.
So listen, thank you for what you do, and we're better off because you're here. So
Yes,
so thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.